Amanda Starr. I'm a yoga instructor here in Montreal. All you need is your yoga mat. Have a good practice. Make your way into a wide knees child's pose. Bring the knees about the width of the mat. The big toes touch. You sit back onto your heels. Walk your hands forwards and release the forehead down to the mat. Start to take long, deep breaths, filling the lower abdominals with air. Your ribs expand. Belly falls between your thighs. And on your next inhalation, you'll come onto all fours. Your hands are right underneath your shoulders. The knees are right underneath your hips. And you're going to inhale, gaze up towards the sky, arching the back. And exhale, pull the abdominals in towards your back ribs. Inhale to gaze up, lifting the sits bones, tips of the shoulder blades move down the back. And exhale, create a big curve in the spine. Inhale deeply as you look up. And exhale, press down through hands and knees as though the thighs are moving towards your forearms, the forearms towards the thighs. Move on your own breath. Extend your right leg back behind you, pull the abdominals in. Extend the left leg back to meet it, coming into plank pose. Hands are right underneath the shoulders, you broaden the collarbones, pull the belly button in, holding plank. And then lift the sits bones up and back, coming into downward facing dog pose. Your feet are hip width distance apart, the hands are shoulder width distance apart. You can start out by bending the knees, trying to lift the sits bones up towards where the wall meets the ceiling. And then start to walk your hands back towards your feet. The feet are hip width distance apart. You'll bend the knees, grab hold of opposite elbows, release the head down, coming into ragdoll. There's no rhyme or reason to this pose. Your belly is resting on top of the thighs. You sway from side to side, nodding the head yes and no. Release the hands down towards the mat. And then bend the knees, tuck the chin in towards your chest and slowly roll yourself back up to stand. The chin is the last thing to lift up off your chest. Come back to the top of your mat, big toes touch, heels apart. Pressing forwards, open up the heart, broadening the collarbones. Inhale, turn the palms out, reach the fingertips up. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, find a flat back. The knees are bent, the belly button is pulled in. There's a straight line from the crown of the head through the shoulders, out through the tailbone. And from here, you're gonna bend your knees, plant your palms, step back into plank, shoulders right over the wrists. For the first one, you'll lower the knees down to the mat. Release the tops of the feet. Bend the elbows back against your side ribs. Lower all the way down onto your stomach. 3 low cobras. Inhale, lift chest and gaze, and exhale, lower. Inhale to lift and release. Inhale, lift, holding here. The hands are right by the ribs. Elbows move in towards each other. Press the tops of the feet into the mat so the knees lift up off the floor. And press down through the hands, transition through the knees. Tuck the toes under, lift the sits bones up and back to find downward dog. Lifting the sits bones up towards where the wall meets the ceiling, so you're lifting the groins up and back. Spreading the fingers out wide. If you find that all of the weight is in the wrists, you're going to bend the knees. Bend the knees, look between the hands, step forwards. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, forehead to shins. Inhale, turn the palms out, reach the fingertips up. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, palms out, fingertips up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Plant your palms, step back into plank. From the knees lifted, chaturanga. Inhale into upward dog. And exhale back into downward facing dog pose. You've always got 2 options. You can either come into plank and lower the knees down for chaturanga or keep them lifted. You can come into low cobra or upward dog where the thighs are lifted up off the mat. From your down dog, bend the knees, look between the hands, step forwards. Inhale to lift and lengthen, flat back. Exhale, forehead to shins. Inhale, ground down through the feet, reach the fingertips up. Exhale, hands to heart. Keep going. Inhale, palms out, fingertips up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, flat back. Plant the palms, find plank. On your exhalation, Chaturanga. Inhale into upward dog. And exhale, find downward facing dog pose. Try lifting the toes up off the mat and moving the mat backwards with the balls of the feet to engage the legs. And step the right foot forwards, coming into a lunge. Make sure the knee is right on top of your ankle, broaden the collarbones. Inhale to extend the arms up alongside the ears, turning the pinky fingers in towards each other to engage the outer upper arms. The back of the left thigh reaches up, and replace the hand, step back into plank. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Look between the hands, step the left foot forward. Come up onto the fingertips, open up the heart, pull the belly button in, and make sure the back of the right thigh is reaching up towards the sky. Inhale to take the arms up by the ears, turning the palms towards the back of the room. And replace the hands, find plank pose. On the exhalation, lower down. Inhale into upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Breathing deeply. Bend the knees, look between the hands, step forwards. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, forehead to shins. Inhale, turn the palms out, reach the fingertips up. Exhale, hands come into prayer at your heart center. Take 5 long, deep breaths. Allow the shoulders to release, fronts of the thighs to relax, and release the hands down by your side. Separate your feet hip-width distance apart and bend the knees, send the groins back, send the chest forwards. Reach down with the first and second fingers, so your pointer and your middle finger hook underneath the big toes. You'll inhale to lengthen the spine, and as you exhale, you're going to bend the elbows towards either side of the room. Release the head down to look between the shins. Trying to keep some length in the torso, so you're going to inhale to reach the sternum towards the top of your mat. And as you exhale, you draw the chest towards your shins. The aim is to have the belly on top of the upper thighs. To come out of the pose, you'll bring the hands onto the hips, find a flat back. Inhale to come back up to center. From here, interlace the fingers behind the back, draw the shoulder blades towards each other, and fold forwards, bringing the interlaced fingers up and overhead. Inhale to slowly come back up to center. Release the interlaced fingers. Bring the big toes back together, the heels apart. Close the eyes. Take a few long, deep breaths. From here, we're going to come into some balancing poses. We'll start with tree pose. You're going to stand on the left foot first. Bring the right foot onto your ankle, shin, or up onto the thigh, and bring the hands into prayer at your heart center. Your gaze is focused on one point that's unmoving in front of you. Press the foot against the thigh against the foot. When you feel stable, you can extend the arms up and overhead. Ground down through that left foot to lengthen out the torso. To come out of the pose, bring the hands back towards your heart center in prayer. Bring the hands to the hips, bring the right knee forwards, interlace the fingers around the front of the right shin, draw the knee in towards your chest. Bring the hands back to the hips, extend that right leg, and then release it back down towards the mat. Second side. The left foot comes onto your ankle, shin, or thigh. Bring the hands into prayer, relaxing the shoulders. This is tree pose, Vrikshasana. From here, you may be extending the arms up and overhead. Back into prayer. From here, bring the hands to the hips, bring the left knee forwards, interlace the fingers, wrapping them around the front of the left shin. When you come up, hands come back to the hips, extending that left leg in space, and release it back down onto the mat. Bring the palms by your side, take a few long, deep breaths, and release the balancing poses. Back to the top of your mat, big toes touch, heels apart, and you'll inhale, turn the palms out, reach the fingertips up, exhale, fold forwards. Inhale to find a flat back, plant your palms, find plank pose, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog, exhale, downward facing dog pose. And from here, you're gonna lower the elbows down to the mat at the same time. Walk the elbows in towards each other, spreading the fingers out wide, and then try to straighten out the arms, lift the elbows up. Inhale, elbows come down, exhale, straighten out the arms. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And from here, holding dolphin pose, reaching the chest back towards your thighs, lifting the groins up and back. Still urging the heels down towards the mat. Come back down onto the knees. Sit back onto your heels. Take rest in child's pose. 5 long deep breaths. Walk the hands back towards your knees. Slowly roll yourself back up to sit. In Savasana, boat pose, you lift the ankles up to the height of the knees, reach the fingertips towards your toes, lift the chest up towards the ceiling, breathing deeply. Cross at the ankles, bring the hands by your sides, try to lift yourself up, and from here, bring the feet down to the mat, bring the palms back behind you about 12 inches, draw the elbows towards each other, press down through the feet, lift the hips to come into reverse table pose. You're gazing at your belly, maybe up at the ceiling. Grounding down through the feet to lift the hips and slowly release. Making your way back into Janu Shirshasana, bending the right foot in towards your groin. Inhale to extend the arms up and exhale to fold forwards. This is a bit of a twist, so your right hand is going to come to the outside of the left ankle, shin, or thigh, sending the left hip back in space. For the last few breaths, you can completely fold forwards, releasing the head down. And then slowly come back up to center. Extend the right leg out, bend the left foot in. Inhale to extend the arms up, and exhale to fold. The left hand comes to the outside of your right ankle, shin, or thigh. Reaching the right hip back in space. So you inhale to lengthen the spine, and exhale to deepen the stretch. Release the head down for your last few breaths. And then slowly come back up to center. Extend the right leg out. Bend the knees, lift the ankles up, coming into your second round of Navasana. You can lift the elbows up to 90 degrees. And from here, cross the ankles, bring the hands to the hips, try to lift something up. And coming back into Parsvottanasana. Pressing down through the feet, lifting the hips up. From your reverse table pose, make your way down into a cross-legged seat. And then step your way back into plank pose, shoulders right over the wrists, lower down. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. And you're going to inhale to come back into plank, and this time lower all the way down onto your stomach. The hands are right by your side, the chin is on the mat. Tuck the tailbone by pulling the belly button in. Inhale to lift the chest, lift the legs, lift everything up off the mat. The breath will allow you to rock slightly back and forth. The head is an extension of the spine. Release right ear to the mat and take rest. Bring the chin back to the mat, this time bringing the hands right by your ribs. Tuck the toes under, pull the belly button in, lift yourself into plank, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog, exhale, downward dog. Inhale to come into plank pose, bringing the shoulders right over your wrists. And then lower all the way back down onto your stomach. Keep the hands where they are. And then release them down by your sides. Interlace the fingers behind the back, lift the chest, lift the legs, lift everything up off the floor. Lift a little higher. See if the hands can come up off your bum before you release. Left ear to the mat, take rest. This time the hands come by the ribs. Move the elbows in towards each other. Tuck the tailbone down. Press up into plank pose. Lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower all the way back onto your stomach. Inhale to lift the chest and lift the legs. You're going to press down through the palms and try to move the mat backwards to draw the chest forwards. Lift into upward dog and exhale back into downward facing dog pose. Bend the knees, look between the hands. Cross the legs in midair, jump through to sit. Bring the feet back down to the mat. And then we're going to come into some twists. You're going to bring the knees in towards your chest, wrapping the interlaced fingers around the fronts of the shin. Breathing deeply to release the lower back. Bring the feet back down onto the mat. Cross the left ankle over the front of the right thigh. Reach the left hand between the legs. The right hand wraps around the front of the right shin. You should feel a stretch in the outer left hip. And from here, keeping the right knee where it is, releasing that left leg down onto the mat, drawing the right knee in towards your chest. Keep the left foot flexed and engaged. You're breathing deeply into the lower abdominals. Bring the left hand to the outside of the right knee. Draw the right knee across the body and gaze over your right fingertips. It's more important that the right shoulder stay down than that the left knee touches the mat. Come back to center. Hug the right knee in. Bring it back down to the mat. Second side, cross the right ankle over the front of the left thigh. Reach the right hand between the triangle. Left hand wraps around the front of the left shin. The action here is that the right knee is moving forwards as the left knee is pulling in towards your chest slightly. You keep the right foot flexed to protect the knee. From here, left knee stays where it is. You release the right foot forwards and down. Breathing deeply into the lower abdominal. to the outside of the left knee. Draw it across the body. Extend the left fingertips out towards the side, gazing over the middle finger of your left hand. Come back to center. Hug the knee in towards your chest. And then allow the feet to release back down, bringing both knees in towards your chest, crossing the right ankle over the left and rocking from side to side. And then extending the legs forward. Feet are hip width distance apart. Splayed out to the sides in their natural external rotation. Arms are down by your sides, palms face up in a gesture of receiving. You relax the shoulders away from the ears. Tuck the tailbone down towards your heels. And let go of any remaining tension that you're holding in your eyebrows or in your jaw. Savasana, or corpse pose, is the time for your organs to settle themselves. For the moving meditation to end, in order for there to be a still meditation. You'll stay here for as long as you feel comfortable. And after you've been still in Savasana for 2 to 5 minutes, maybe even longer, and slowly start to lengthen the breath. Extend the arms up and overhead, stretch like you're just waking up, and make your way onto your right side in the fetal position. Press down through the left palm and the right upper arm to bring yourself back up to sit, crossing the legs, bringing the palms onto the thighs, closing the eyes. Inhale to turn the palms out, reach the fingertips up. Exhale to draw a line of energy down into prayer at your heart center. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.